The following is a production of White Lightning Entertainment. This is Burning Rubber Radio.
Larson up top, all the way up top. Buescher,
he's on the outside. He's in position. He's got it.
And here comes Truex. They're going to close right to the two leaders. Coming to the line. Crash together. I believe Buescher.
I think you're right. It's so close. This is going to be a huge win for Buescher. They're excited. I think it's him, Kevin.
That was incredible.
Can you believe it?
I cannot.
I can. But what a crush. Oh, man.
Burning Rubber Radio is brought to you by Drive Refine. It's more than driver coaching. It's Drive Refine. Visit driverefine.com to get signed up today. Now from the White Lightning Entertainment Studios in Statesville, North Carolina, here's your host, Andy DeLay.
Burning Rubber, baby. It's that time again, folks, for the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports. I'm your host, Andy DeLay, alongside my crazy producer, Wayne Owens. Talking about crazy, brother. This past weekend, the Cup Series race at Kansas, we can't get any closer than .0000000, whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was down to literally the, 100 millionth of a second or something like that. Like you could hear Cliff Daniels on the radio there in the open, and he's just like it was .00000, just like getting confused in his own right. So, and by the way, Cliff Daniels, the crew chief for the number 5 of Kyle Larson. But man, I tell you what. I knew somewhere along the line we were going to set more records in the coming years. I wasn't expecting to have a finish that was going to be that close.
Not at Kansas. And I think the next closest one was between Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch back in years ago at Darlington. Was
.007 seconds back then. So 7/10,000ths of a second back then. Now we're at the point, and folks, if you got a chance to watch the race on Sunday, seriously, go back and rewatch it just for the sake of it, because that finish, and I wished I had a picture of it that I could put up on screen, but I'll tell you what, I'll put it up on our social media later this week so that if folks can re-see it again. That picture of that finish, and this is NASCAR's laser data that they are having to pull to verify the finish of this race, because as they cross the start-finish line, they are literally inch to inch, side by side by side. Like there is no gap for any kind of air whatsoever between those two cars. It came down to NASCAR literally running laser scan data like they do in iRacing to determine the winner of this race.
Man, it was very good. There was that. And, of course, there was the Truck Series race this past weekend at Kansas, too. And Corey Heim went out there and whooped everyone's butt on that one. And that was fun to watch. But there was a lot of other racing. And, of course, you're going to tell us all about that. There's a new winner down in Miami we'll talk about.
Yep, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. In fact, actually, the topic of discussion this week, since we do not have a featured guest for the week, General Motors did a little bit of investigative legwork, so we're going to jump on the soapbox here, and we're going to kind of form some opinions and everything like that based on the way this article reads, along with some other information that we've had previously, and have a little fun with that here later on in the show. Again, we'll touch more on some other racing news here too, including Corey Heim's win this past weekend at Kansas, along with Kyle Larson's win, and a little bit of other news to break into here as well. Formula One was on track this past weekend as well, and something very unexpected happened in the world of F1 too. So we'll be touching on that. But just you think of it, Andy, the month of May, we've already had Kansas. We've got Darlington coming up this weekend. We've got North Wilkesboro in 2 weeks. We've got the Coke 600 in 3 weeks. Not to mention you've got the Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix. I mean, it is literally shaping up to be a month. Not to mention, Sunday was Cinco de Mayo. You've got Mother's Day coming up this weekend. You've got a full moon circling around here in about 2 weeks as well.
Oh, boy.
It's just going to be a wild, wild, wild month.
That's correct, man. And while we're at this, talking about wild stuff, I want to welcome our newest affiliate, Red Hot Country Radio. Red Hot Country Radio, redhotcountryradio.com. Thank you, folks, for letting us come to you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Burning Rubber Radio Army, baby.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, can't forget all of our other radio affiliates here. Radio St. Pete, Sunshine 96.7 LP out of St. Petersburg, Florida. And then we've got WTUC out of Toccoa, Georgia, that has recently come on board here with us. Performance Motorsports Network.
WTHU, baby. I love my folks up in Thurmont, Maryland. Love you, folks.
Yeah, most definitely here. But with that said here, folks, before we get to our first foreign fuel of the show, we've got to talk about our sponsors, and that being one, MyPillow. Make sure you go over to mypillow.com/BRR and use the code BRR at checkout to get your order shipped for free.
Yeah, they sell pillows kind of soft and fluffy like you.
Hey, you know what? I won't say what I'm thinking, folks, because there's reasons behind that. But either which way, mypillow.com/BRR to get your order shipped for free. Use the promo code BRR at checkout. Also, the folks over at iRacing, visit iRacing.com for the world's premier online motorsports simulation. Again, that is iRacing.com, iRacing.com, iRacing.com. Make sure you go check them out today. And also the folks over at Drive Refine, Joey Coulter, Austin Terrio. Go to driverefine.com and get yourself not driver coaching, it's Drive Refine.
Drive Refine.
And go check it out, folks. If you're in the world of real racing or simulation racing, whatever the case might be, Joey will get you the hookup.
One last thing, folks. Also, please go follow us on our TikTok, Burning Rubber Radio TikTok. Follow us. I'll follow you back, and check out our videos on Wingding TV, on Roku Fire Stick, and also on YouTube at youtube.com/Burning Rubber Radio.
And on Rumble, too. Don't forget to go search for Burning Rubber Radio over on the Rumble channel as well. But with that said here, folks, we're going to step aside. We're going to take that first foreign fuel. And when we come back, Andrew, we've got some interesting news to cover here, including a little bit of Formula One action.
Where's the NASCAR chef?
Oh, wait. John. I just realized John was missing. All right, well, folks, I'll tell you what. We're going to go on the hunt for John Dix. We'll see if we can find him when we come back.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
What can we learn from a child?
That spreading joy
is more important than a trophy.
That when we help others,
we heal ourselves.
that with a little love,
we can make the biggest impact.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission
is simple.
Help every child we can.
Because all children deserve joy.
And hope.
And love.
And if one child is still in need,
then there's still work to do.
Because their future is our future.
And there's still so much they can teach us.
Burning Rubber is social. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber, producer Wayne and Andrew DeLay. And
don't forget our duck.
Oh my God, the Quacker's back again. The Quacker. hey, you know what, Quacker? I thought my warning to you last week would have been enough to make you realize you need to stay away, but apparently you need a little bit of...
Yeah, just like your dang dog in the background. Did you go take that thing out during the commercial?
I thought that was Augie. I heard. I didn't think that was anyone in the studio further down. But
oh my gosh!
Either which way, folks. Lots of stuff going on here. News of the week, though. We gotta be touching on that here. And again, a new. Augie, hush, bud.
Man, scaring my duck, dude. Would you take that stupid dog out at the break?
I can't. It's Augie. Like
trying to blame it on my Dodge Hound who's asleep.
We bring our dogs to the studio, folks. So just
and our ducks. See, we like to chase it around the studio and with our feet. Like, get out from under me. Oh, it's a racing radio show for real, folks.
Yeah, really. It's 100% a racing radio show. I mean, no jokes, right?
Yeah. Oh Lord.
Oh man. All right. Well, on to news of the week here, though, real quick, Andy. Now that we've gotten the puppers simmered down once again here, Augie and mine both are a little knocked out now. I gave them some of those wonderful CBD treats that you had hanging around.
Oh, it ain't my CBD. My duck wants some.
Oh, man. But either way here, folks, again, history was made this past weekend here at Kansas Speedway. And, it's kind of funny when we say history has been made, it's been made again with Kyle Larson's hair-raising victory over Chris Buescher. The margin between triumph and defeat was an astonishing. Now, here's the interesting part. When we heard Cliff Daniels on the radio, he said it was 0.00000 seconds, right? So
like that, yeah.
Apparently the score chart is reflecting that it was a 0.001 second victory. So 1/10,000th of a second difference, making it the closest finish ever in Cup Series history. Now, interestingly enough, there have been 4 times in NASCAR history where that has been the case. And the 4th time that happened prior to this one being the 2024 Atlanta Motor Speedway Spring Race, where it was a .007 finish in that regard there. Tied for second overall was the 2003 Darlington Spring Race. And at that point, the race finish there was .002 seconds. And then, of course, the other one tied for second would have been the 2011 Spring Talladega race, where that one was also won by, of all people, Clint Boyer at .002 seconds. And then, of course, now the Kansas Spring race at .001 seconds. So everything literally is in the 10,000ths of a second difference as far as who wins, who loses, and who moves on to next week.
Yeah, it would be hard if I was Chris Buescher to swallow that one. It's just that close. The guy needs a win. He really deserved a win. But Kyle Larson, man, you see him show up at the track, and he can win on any day and anything.
That he can. But you know what? And I heard this earlier today too when I was scoping around through X and everything like that. Here, Chris Buescher's crew chief Scott Graves, he says he accepts NASCAR's decision. I mean, honestly, in theory, I mean, you really kind of can't help but question it still regardless. And it's not that we're questioning, NASCAR in general, because we question NASCAR all the time. But if you really sit and look at it, honestly, it's too close to call. It really is.
That's
right. Honestly, it's so close to call that realistically, and I'm going to say if you really wanted to make history when it comes to NASCAR, I would have said you got 2 winners of 1 race.
That would be a first, right?
I mean, it would be the first in NASCAR history. I mean, hey, they're all about making history. Why not set a new precedent for something, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that would go over like a fart in church with a lot of people.
Yeah, either way. It is what it is. But some other good news to speak of here, and this actually came out as of May the 3rd, so this past Thursday here, or excuse me, this past Friday, where Eric Jones has officially been cleared back to return back to racing. So he will be at Darlington this weekend coming up for Throwback Weekend.
And that's right. Corey Heim was in the car for him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Corey Heim was in the car and didn't do half bad for a Cup Series run on Sunday. I mean, he did have a little bit of trouble, but overall, not too bad of a run for Corey Heim.
You know who we haven't talked about a whole bunch this year and has done one hell of a job recently?
Do tell.
Noah Gragson.
Actually, you know what? It's kind of funny you bring Noah Gragson up because there was actually some news that dropped back at the end of April, 1st of May here, that involves Noah Gragson. And that being one, Rhett Jones Racing has officially expanded to the Xfinity Series on a part-time basis with Noah Gragson.
See, man, I'm so glad that he's back in action. He had to sit out a good while there after his oops.
Yeah,
but,
he had just a little bit of a oopsie.
Yeah, he paid his. They spanked him and straightened him out and sent him back out on the track, and he's been a good boy.
He's been good little boy.
This year, Stuart Haas.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so here. And then one last bit of news here that we're gonna get to touch on here before we get ready to head to break here, and that being the AMA Supercross was back at it this past weekend here at the Mile High track out in Denver. So Mile High Supercross was this past weekend here, and Team Honda HRC's Jet Lawrence grabs his 8th win in his rookie season.
Jet Lawrence is the real deal in the dirt, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's another Ricky Carmichael right there, and I'm sure a lot of folks went boo, yes to that. But watch out, the kid can go.
Right, and so not only is it his 8th victory of the season, but it officially extends his championship lead now to 20 points with only 1 round remaining in the season. So at this point, it's going to take a miracle for Jet Lawrence to not win not only Rookie of the Year but the AMA Supercross title.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hey, man, we got to get John to round him up. I'd like to have him on Burn on Rubber Radio, too.
Yeah, he would be a good one to talk to. And if we could get him and Ricky Carmichael side by side.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, right. But with that said here, folks, we have got to step aside. We've got to take our next foreign fuel. And when we come back, as we mentioned, we've got an interesting topic to cover, talking about the push-to-pass system in IndyCar and General Motors holding their own unique investigation. So do be on the lookout for that.
And watch my duck.
Damn duck. That damn duck. Oh, well. Well, that's it here, folks. We're going to be back right after this.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
What can we learn from a child?
That spreading joy
is more important than a trophy.
That when we help others,
We heal ourselves.
That with a little love,
We can make the biggest impact.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission
is simple.
help every child we can.
because all children deserve joy.
And hope.
And love.
And if one child is still in need,
Then there's still work to do.
Because their future is our future.
and there's still so much they can teach us.
Visit us online at burningrubberradio.com for recipes from the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more great content.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
Now back to more Burning Rubber Radio.
And we are back on Burning Rubber. Producer Wayne, along with Andrew today. And
Hey!
and so, you know what? We talked about this in the open of the show. We talked about it a little bit during News of the Week here to prepare everybody so that we could get some things situated for a little soapbox topic that we can talk about here. And
Oh, boy.
It's always fun when we can step on the soapbox, folks, because it opens up the floor not only to myself, to Andy, to John when John's here, which actually, by the way, you know what, folks? We never did find the NASCAR chef. I think he ran away, Andy.
I hope not. He's supposed to be here along with the shrimp pimp.
Yeah, that's what we hear. But then again, good God. I mean, those farts that you were cutting earlier. Like,
Really, man? That's got TMI, that one, huh?
It's no wonder that
everybody
chef ran away. But hey, either which way, we need to get a hold of Foggy, man, because even Foggy'd be like,
yeah, man.
Oh my
People are like, who the heck's Foggy, man? He's an old crew guy that we used to hang out with. Oh my God.
Yeah, good old
back in the day.
Good old John Ryan, but we call him Foggy for sure, for simplicity purposes. And folks, if you ever met him, you'll understand why. But on to the topic at hand here for the week, and that being the General Motors investigation over the whole push-to-pass system in IndyCar, where the violation was issued a couple of weeks ago at the St. Petersburg Grand Prix. And I'm not going to lie, Andy. We talked about it a little bit last week here, where, the push-to-pass system honestly is a pretty nifty little thing that IndyCar has going for them. But much like NASCAR, they are very indecisive when it comes to their own rule book on a lot of things here. Like 1 minute it's legal, 1 minute it's not. It's kind of like picking favorites, I guess you could say. And but General Motors did hire an independent legal firm to investigate Team Penske's P2P violations that resulted in a major penalty from IndyCar. And the findings that General Motors concluded is that there was no evidence that any Chevrolet employee was aware of the matter that ultimately led to Joseph Newgarden's disqualification after winning the March 10th Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. And so with that being the case here, boy, I'm getting tongue-tied already. I love it. Third place finisher Scott McLaughlin was also disqualified when it was revealed 6 weeks later that both drivers had used their P2P on either a race start or restart, even though, again, it was not explicitly stated in the rule book that was an illegal move. And then driver Will Power was penalized but not disqualified. So again, fairness at that point. If one's going to be disqualified, then the lot need to be disqualified for having the manipulated P2P software in his number 12 Chevrolet, but he did not use it against regulation. But again, those regulations in the rule book did not openly state you cannot use this during a restart. So at that point the floor is open, and I really have to say, like, I'm glad that GM, was able to, clear Will Power's name, at least as far as the Chevrolets go for the push-to-pass system. But in the same right, if you're going to penalize one but not disqualify the others, or but disqualify the others, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I was told that this was actually something that was quote unquote hooked up for testing a few weeks prior. I want to say at Sebring, and was never properly disconnected to use the push to pass during the start.
So,
and that
now are we referring to Joseph Newgarden's car, or are we referring to Will Power?
All of them.
All of them. Okay. So,
and
go ahead.
That's what I was led to believe and what I was told. Well, the thing that I have to say is that don't these cars go through inspection?
They're supposed
don't these
to.
They have to pass some type of pre-race and post-race inspection. So why could they not tell that these things were not properly disconnected, or the software was not installed right, or something, whatever it was? There's a test for everything.
There is.
And as far as I'm concerned, it goes right back to IndyCar. What the heck?
Yeah, realistically, and you're very on point there. So, and based on what you're saying is that considering the P2P system that was, utilized during the restarts was almost a software engineering design, more or less, to be enabled for the deal going on at the Sebring race a couple of weeks prior to that. If that's the case and that was built into the software and purposely coded in there, then at that point, not only these teams, but IndyCar should have remembered, hey, by the way, they were out testing this specific feature, and in turn should have known better and reinstalled the proper software on all of these cars, not just these three, but had teams install them on every single car just to make sure everything was up to spec.
And then you test to make sure they did it.
Exactly. And then if at that point in time, then it's found that install was not properly completed or never completed at all, then go ahead and handle any penalties in pre-race. Don't worry about dealing with it post-race, because at this point, March 10th, we're talking about something that happened 8 weeks ago at this point, and the penalties were just handed out within the last 6 to 7 weeks after the race. So therefore, it's like, okay, you would have known about this day of or day after if this were NASCAR. IndyCar, on the other hand, you got to do better.
Right. NASCAR doesn't have these type of technical things, and there's no push to pass and that type of stuff. They've just, in the last few years, put fuel injection on these things. They used to be old school carburetors. Not long ago. So, and I want to say they still use them in the truck series.
Oh yeah, no, they still use carbs in the truck series. Yeah.
So, but anyway, what I'm saying is NASCAR is not anywhere near as sophisticated as IndyCar, Formula One, those types of things, just because they cost a hell of a lot more to run cars with all that fancy dancy stuff in it.
That it does, but still, you would think with all of the tech available to them, that they would know better than to let things just kind of stick out like that. I mean, that's a glaring issue at that point.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that, shame on you, IndyCar, for not catching it in your inspections.
Yep. And again, just like with any form of motorsports, whether it be NASCAR, whether it be IndyCar, whether it be Formula One, there is a technical inspection that has to take place. And now, I haven't heard about it with Formula One, but being open wheel, I would assume probably correct, where in that technical inspection, they are going to go through the computer data that is associated with those cars. NASCAR, like you said, doesn't have to do something like that because there's no really involved operating system built into a NASCAR stock car, unlike an Indy car.
Yeah, right. NASCAR is more worried about finding the nitrous bottle inside the frame rails and stuff like that.
You know what? Hey, somebody like Bubba Wallace, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he does something like that eventually. But
not just him. I think every team out there tries to do a little bit of something.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does do a little bit of something to the cars, but it is what it is. And then, but yeah, on Friday morning as well here, though, General Motors President Mark Russ did issue a statement. He says, "We respect the decisions and actions of IndyCar, as well as Team Penske's commitment to improve their processes and controls. Chevrolet engaged a third-party law firm to conduct a thorough review of the matter, and they found no evidence that any Chevrolet employee had any knowledge of or involvement in the matter. And Chevy looks forward to engaging with IndyCar and our partner race teams to assist in any enhancements that further support the integrity of IndyCar competition." Now, I'm not going to lie. That last statement, you can clearly tell that is pure legalese at that point.
Oh, yeah, it's all legalese. They're saying, hey, we don't know about Team Penske, but we didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And so at that point, again, folks, yeah, at this, really, if anything, the soapbox this week is more so about accountability than it is anything else. It's not us bitching and moaning and complaining that, oh my God, Joseph Newgarden should have kept this win. Realistically, he should have, because at that, again, like we said, if you're going to penalize one but disqualify others, the penalty needs to be a little bit more fair in that regard across the board. If you're going to penalize one, penalize all three. Don't disqualify two and penalize one. The fairness just is not there in that regard. And Newgarden, if anything, should have said, okay, hey, look, take a dock in points or take a dock in the winner's purse or whatever, but let him keep the damn win. I mean, he earned it, for crying out loud, even if the push to pass was used against whatever rule book you decided to look in that specific day, when originally it was never brought up as an issue for the St. Pete Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure, Wayne.
What's that?
We've now pissed off IndyCar along with NASCAR.
Hey, you know what? At that point, oh well.
Oh well.
Yep. Cry me a river. Play me that small little violin, right? And but with all that said here, folks, what we want to get your thoughts as well too. And we'll put the topic up on our social media, facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio, TikTok.com/Burning Rubber. We'll have the video created as well for all of that, or even on our X page at twitter.com/BRR_radio. Let us know what you guys think, and we would love to hear your thoughts. But with that said, here we're going to step aside. We're going to take our next foreign fuel, and when we come back, well, Andy, I think John's calling me. I think he's going to try and. Nope, John just texted me. He's actually on his way back. He finally got all the stench cleared out of the room with the grills. So. Oh,
really? Because all those shrimp from the shrimp pit.
You're right. So with that said, here, folks, we're going to step aside. We're going to take that next foreign fuel, and when we come back, NASCAR chef John Dixon, JR the Shrimp Pimp.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
What can we learn from a child?
That spreading joy
is more important than a trophy.
That when we help others,
We heal ourselves.
That with a little love,
We can make the biggest impact.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission
is simple.
Help every child we can.
because all children deserve joy
and hope
and love.
And if one child is still in need,
then there's still work to do.
Because their future
is our future.
And there's still so much they can teach us.
The Griller is fired up, and the chef has something good cooking. It's the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber, producer Wayne, and hey, I found the NASCAR chef, John.
Hey, Wayne, how y'all doing? Where y'all been?
Man, we've been in the studio. Where were you hiding at?
Man, I was cooking. I got some good recipe for us today.
I was going to say, you must have really been cooking up a storm because Andy ran out of here. He was smelling something. I mean, probably smelling his own ass, but...
Well, you know how it is, Wayne. I mean, I was out there chasing that darn duck around and trying to work on the grill, but we got it going. It's mid-spring, Wayne, and there's some fresh seafood coming out of the Gulf and out of the Atlantic. And today we are doing a baked shrimp casserole.
Oh, we are we? Well, folks, there it is. Baked shrimp casserole from the NASCAR chef. John, what you got for us this week?
Well, Wayne, we're going to start with 1 pound of large deveined shrimp. Make sure they're peeled. 1 cup of your favorite breadcrumbs. 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. 2 cloves of garlic minced. 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now you can use salt and pepper or whatever seasoning you like to taste, and a couple lemon wedges to garnish it. And what you're going to do, guys, you want to preheat your oven to about 375. Now in a bowl, you want to combine the breadcrumbs, the Parmesan cheese, the garlic, the parsley, the olive oil, and your seasoning, but mix it real well, okay? Now in a greased or sprayed 9x13 casserole dish, place your shrimp in a single layer. If you have a little extra, just kind of push them together a little tighter, and you can get them in there. And then you're going to spoon the breadcrumb mixture evenly over the shrimp. It's that simple. Place the dish in the oven and cook for about 15 to 20 minutes in your preheated oven until the breadcrumbs are golden brown. And when you take it out, you use your garnish as, your lemon wedges as a garnish. Very simple, very easy, and very tasty.
I was gonna say, man, that already sounds delicious, man. But here's the question: would it go well with those fried pineapple rings we made last week?
Absolutely, Wayne. Absolutely. You can use this as a side dish. You can use it as a entree, whatever you want to do with it. But that's a good idea. The shrimp and the pineapple would go good. Everybody go on Rumble and YouTube and look at our recipe from last week and combine them, and Wayne and I will get fatter than we already are.
Well, you know what's actually a funny story that you bring up, getting fat here, folks. You've probably noticed in the last couple of weeks that I've kind of started slimming out a little bit. John, I've started keto.
Yeah, well, good, Wayne. I know you have it. You look like you're losing a little bit. I'm happy for you, brother.
I was going to say it's keto has been a very unique process for me. I'm not going to lie, and whew. All I'm going to say is it's just it feels weird. The body's getting used to it, and it's just like.
Well, I tell you, Wayne, we can do some of those recipes coming up and help everybody out. The summertime, it's getting to be bikini season. Andy and I don't need to be in a Speedo, but we're not going there anyways. No, so.
No, you don't. And folks, by the way, that is something that if you see, run.
Absolutely.
Oh, good Lord, we're gonna have to call PD down there and have Andy looked at, be like, what are you doing in a Speedo, son?
Ooh, what an image.
Yeah, I know, right? That's something that's gonna be hard to get out of the head. But folks, again here, real quickly, take a good look at the full screen version of baked shrimp casserole from the NASCAR chef John Dix, and we're working on the mobile version of everything as well for the TikTok and Facebook Reels and all that other good stuff, so that you guys will have something cool to look at every single week as well. And yeah, we've got, again, folks, we've had a whole lot of things being put as a work in progress for 2024, and it's nice to see things finally coming along to fruition. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of a lot of days where, of course, everybody knows, I'm a full-time Uber driver, so I don't necessarily get a whole lot of free time to myself. So what free time I do get, we're definitely working on stuff for the show. So as I get things done, we get things pumped out for you guys because we know you love the content here on the show.
Right. Wayne, guys out there, Wayne has done a heck of a job making my recipes look good, and we're looking forward to what's coming up.
Oh yeah, most definitely. A lot of stuff coming up here in the very, very near future. And folks, with that said here, we have got to step aside. We've got to take that final foreign fuel. John, I remember you telling me before we went on the air here just now for this segment, or back on the air during the commercial break, that you got to get back out on the grill because you got some steaks and kebabs lined up for everybody here after the show. So we gotta let you go do that. Make sure that doesn't get burnt. But I think Andy's coming. Yep, I see Andy coming back. So we gotta hurry up and get the commercial break before he interrupts us. With that said, folks, we're gonna step aside for that next foreign fuel, and when we come back, we're gonna be talking. Formula One. We're gonna be talking a whole bunch of stuff, and we're gonna get picks in for Throwback Weekend at Darlington.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com. Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
What can we learn from a child?
That spreading joy
is more important than a trophy.
That when we help others,
we heal ourselves.
That with a little love,
We can make the biggest impact.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission
is simple.
help every child we can.
because all children deserve joy.
And hope.
And love.
And if one child is still in need,
Then there's still work to do.
because their future
Is our future.
And there's still so much they can teach us.
Burning Rubber is social. Follow us on X at twitter.com/BRR_radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber. Producer Wayne, along with the Andrew. I almost called you the NASCAR
what?
Chef John Diggs. Oh my God! Hey, well, yeah, I'll tell you what. That little sweetheart whistle that Twitter gives you when you send a tweet, it had me thinking a lady was outside the studio for a second. I don't know why I looked over that way.
Okay.
Either which way here, folks, we're back at it here. Final segment of the show. Again, does not feel like an hour goes by this quickly, folks. I swear to you, it really does not. But then again, the antics and everything we have in this show, I think, make up for the time difference.
Yeah.
And but we want to get on to some final news of the week here, and not to mention we've also got the motorsports enthusiast John DeRudris coming up here in just a moment as well, with the debut of the final lap, and so that's gonna be a fun bit here in just a little bit. But real quickly here, though, Lando Norris, Andy, he's not been doing all that well in Formula One, but in the Miami Sun this past weekend, he got himself his first dub.
He did. He won that thing. I was watching all the stuff going on down there in Miami because Natalie Decker was down there. She was posting all kinds of stuff on her social medias, and she actually placed in the top 3 in some virtual race they had going on with iRacing down there. So good job, Natalie. You know we love you here at Burning Rubber Radio.
I was going to say the fact that you said you were watching Natalie and you worry about me checking out beautiful women. Like, dude, come on.
Okay. Okay.
Folks, we kid. Again, the antics with the show, it's a thing all its own. But again, seriously, congratulations, Natalie, on placing in that race. Really good stuff for her, along with Lando Norris getting his win in Miami this past weekend in Formula One. And the interesting thing too, Andy, and I saw this when I was reading the article this morning too, is that did you know that with this race, that was Lando's 110th start in Formula One?
No, I had no clue. I knew that. I always kind of thought he was one of those back markers has-been guys. You know, you're one or two that actually run good in their Formula One.
Yep.
They get that formula down right, but yeah, good for him. He deserves the win. I saw he was crowd surfing down there after his win too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was having a lot of fun with it here, and it's a McLaren car too. So nice to see somebody finally.
However, I want to point something out. F1 definitely has to figure something out coming to the United States. Did you see the price on food?
Oh yeah, it was egregious.
$130 for a hamburger and French fries.
Yep.
Get the heck out of here.
Yep, I believe it, and you know what? Somebody else had something to say about that too.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I would have said. I'd have been like, wow, and giving them the Kentucky Audi, and I ain't eating that. I'll go hungry.
Well, and not only that, do you know how much they charge for hotel rooms when they come down there?
Oh, I could in the thousands, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, the Miami Grand Prix last year when Formula One was in town, hotel rooms were going, and we're not talking like your true 5-star hotels. We're talking like some 3- and 4-star hotels that were going for $125,000 for a suite.
That's nuts, man. They can shove it straight up their Kazumba for that kind of money.
Kazumba? What the hell? Oh man,
I'll go watch my Bubba Pollard, here locally, and Stephen Nassy. I can go down there for $12 or flash my Burning Rubber Radio credentials and get down in the pits for free. The heck with that crap, man.
That
going
or
down there and spending that.
That or heck, we just call up Natalie and be like, hey, you wanna we'll hang out at a race or something.
Oh, yeah, something like that. But I ain't spending that kind of money to go down there and see these wine and cheese freaks, man. I think it's cool racing, don't get me wrong, but not worth that kind of money.
And with that, we've officially pissed off Formula One now. So we're
Formula One.
We're on the triple threat this week. I love it. And but moving on over here now, real quickly, some final news. Andy, as we all know here, precursor to the Indianapolis 500, one thing they do every single year is the Little 500 out at the what is that? The why isn't I'm blanking on the track? The
because you're getting old.
Yes, I know I'm getting old. Shut up. Anderson Speedway. That's what it was. I had to look it up here real quick. But Anderson Speedway up in Anderson, Indiana, and a Hoosier native has put his name in for the Little 500, and we know this Hoosier native all too well.
Who is? I don't know.
I was going to say, and I thought I was the one getting old. Rocket Man!
Oh, yeah, Ryan Newman. I wonder if he's going to be running Joey's equipment up there. Joey Coulter's.
That's a good question. We'll have to call Joey up and find out. And by the way, I saw the slide that they finished for the new house. There ain't no way my big ass is fitting on that thing.
No, not at all.
Trust me,
or mine.
Trust me. They would have to expand that thing out by about a foot.
You go in there, you'd be all bruised up from collapsing the thing, and you'd have a big black eye because Joey Coulter whipped your ass on the way out of the house for wrecking his new house.
Oh, Lordy. I wouldn't have to worry so much about Joey doing it as I would Jess.
Yeah, Jess Coulter, she would knock your ass around too. That's for sure. Oh my Lord.
Oh, but the cool going back to news of the week here before we get too far ahead of things here is that with this entry into the Little 500, this will make Ryan's second attempt to qualify for the Little 500, which is a crown jewel race for the 500 Sprint Car Tour. And after logging an 8th place finish at the Sprint Car Classic in 2022 on a newly purchased chassis from Brian Gerster, Newman will be teaming up with Tim Clausen and Richard Marshall to form Clausen Marshall Newman Racing. So actually, it's not going to be Joey Gear.
So it isn't Coulter's stuff.
No, it's not going to be Coulter gear this time around, but that's a thing. And one last bit of news here before we get on to some other things here for the week. And over in Altamaha, North Carolina, Andy, at Ace Speedway, it was a Cars Tour run this past weekend here. And guess
our boy
who? Carson Quapple gets himself in
boys.
victory lane this past weekend here. And the cool part is it was a Quapple family domination at the Cars Tour this past weekend here, where Carson and his brother both claimed wins in the Z-Max Cars Tour late model stock feature, and Caden winning the Pro late model feature.
So there's another Quapple, Caden Quapple, along with Carson, and of course their dad Travis. That's so cool.
Yep, and you can see the picture of Travis, Caden, and Carson all in victory lane this past weekend at Ace Speedway. So some really, really good stuff. Seeing the Quapple brothers get themselves in victory lane once again. But moving on here now, we've got to get ourselves on over to picks coming up for this weekend here at Darlington Speedway in South Carolina. And it's throwback weekend, Andy. I cannot wait to see that Kellogg's throwback that Kyle Larson's got, man.
Yes, that's right. And so for my pick, I guess you're talking about. You want me to give you my pick?
Yeah, give me your pick for Darlington.
All right, I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man. Did he ever impress at Kansas this last week? I think the snake bite has just about healed itself.
I hope so. What is he, third place at Kansas?
Something like it. Yeah, he come in third place, and I'll be honest with you, had it not been for Larson and Buescher getting the runs they had, I really think he could have won that race.
Yeah, it's time. He's got to win. I mean, he's been up there top 5 forever. So
that he has. So Martin Truex Jr. going for Andy DeLay this weekend, coming up at Darlington. I'm going to say throwback weekend. I'm going to go ahead and call it now. I'm going to say Buescher gets his revenge and gets that win this weekend coming up at throwback weekend for Darlington. And but folks, with that being the case here, before we get out of here for the week, we have got to sit down with our friend, the motorsports enthusiast, John DeRugeris. And we're going to send it on over to the final lap.
Welcome to the final lap with me, the motorsport enthusiast, and we are looking at Darlington this week. And if you can't tell, it's throwback week. We got all the throwback gear on. My favorite driver, Jeff Gordon. Let's talk about who I'm looking at this week to potentially win at Darlington. Driver that's always at the top of mind is this guy right here, number 24, not Jeff Gordon, but William Byron. William Byron has an average finish of 6.5 in the last 4 races in the Next Gen era at Darlington. And in the spring, he has an average finish of 7. Another driver I'm looking at is Chase Elliott. He has the highest average finish in the spring race in the Gen 7 era among active drivers with an average finish of 4. Some other drivers that have high average finishes is Tyler Reddick with 7.5 and Joey Logano with an average finish of 8.75. Now you're probably asking, where's Denny Hamlin? He's finished in the top 5 52% of the time here at Darlington in his career and 68% of the time in the top 10. I'm going to fade Denny Hamlin this week, and I'm going to look at this manufacturer to get it done for the first time this season. I'm going to look at Ford and I'm going to look at RFK. Specifically, I'm going to look at Brad Keselowski. Even though Keselowski doesn't have the highest average finish of 12.75 among active drivers. He does have an average finish of 5.6 when he is accident-free at Darlington. So watch out for Keselowski to be battling up there. So my top pick of the week is going to be Brad K. I know I'm decked out in 24 gear. It kind of sounds wrong to say, but I'm thinking Brad Keselowski is going to get Ford its first win of 2024. Here's another reason why. Looking at previous trends at Darlington, every time a manufacturer has won more than 3 races in a row, who has won the next race? It has been Ford every single time over the last 30 years. From 95 to 96, Chevrolet won 4 in a row. Who won that race? Dale Jarrett in a Ford. From 03 to 05, Chevrolet won 3 in a row. Who won that next race? It was Greg Biffle in a Ford. And from 2015 to 2017, Chevrolet won 3 in a row. Who won that next race? Mr. Brad K himself. So I'm going with Brad K. Lock that in, my best pick of the week.
Man, Andy, I'll tell you what, talking about the NASCAR motorsports enthusiast John DeRugis, final lap
Good
gets kicked
stuff.
off in good fashion this week here, brother. And but again, folks, the motorsports enthusiast John DeRugis in the final lap. You can also find John over on TikTok and just search up the motorsports enthusiast over there as well. And some good stuff always coming in from the motorsports enthusiast. But with that said here, folks, Andy, can you believe an hour's already gone by, my friend?
An hour, baby, flies by with the fastest 60 minutes of motorsports. Thanks for listening, folks.
Yes.
Or watching here on YouTube, Wingding,
Rumble, all over the place here, folks. And again, we've got some things in the works, so you never know what might be coming up from a national broadcast perspective.
Yeah,
So,
we'll see all of that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Don't get too excited.
Exactly.
And Wayne, quit kicking my duck.
You're the one kicking. We got to get out of here for the week, folks. For everybody involved in the show here, for the NASCAR chef John Dix, for Andy DeLay, I'm producer Wayne, for John DeRugis. Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber Radio is a production of White Lightning Entertainment with studios in Statesville, North Carolina, and was brought to you by Drive Refine. It's more than driver coaching, it's Drive Refine. Visit driverefine.com to get signed up today. This week's show was produced by Wayne Owens. Remember to visit burningrubberradio.com for news, recipes, and more great content. Burning Rubber Radio can be seen on Rumble, YouTube, or wingding.tv and heard on radio stations nationwide. Any use of the accounts or descriptions contained in this broadcast must be the express written permission of White Lightning Entertainment.